Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it's time to have a look at another devblog for the next major update, and this is for the Duguay-Trouin, which is of course a new light cruiser coming in for the French. Looks like there's going to be two pre-order vehicles for the French, not just the destroyer, but also this rank 3 cruiser, which looks pretty nice. It comes with a bunch of bonuses, as always, but also a higher price tag. I would like to remind you, if you do want to purchase this thing, make sure to use my partner code, because you can get a 3% discount and also support the channel and get the in-game decal as well. So overall, not a bad little setup. Let's have a look at the pack itself. So the pack itself includes the ship, which has some pretty cool armaments on it, and of course is a standard light cruiser. You also get 2000 GE premium account for 15 days, and as pre-order bonuses you get the Breton Corsair title, which is really cool. You get a Corsair decal so you can become a pirate, and also the French cruiser captain portrait. So just like the other machine, they are starting to put portraits in for pre-orders, which kind of sucks, at least in my opinion, but if you want to get access to them, then unfortunately that's how you get access to them. Time to have a look at the history of this machine. In the years following the end of the First World War, French naval designers began working on a new cruiser design, intended to counter Italian vessels, which were seen as the most likely adversaries in a potential future conflict. However, as design work stagnated by the start of the 1920s, this made it possible to compare the French design with contemporary designs of other nations. Striking a particular interest in the American Omaha-class light cruiser, French shipbuilders revised their designs and eventually came up with 4 different drafts. In 1922, one of the designs was selected for construction, despite the designers intending to further improve it. As a result, the French Navy ordered 3 ships for construction, which began shortly after the orders were placed. The Duguay-Trouin would be laid down as the lead ship of the class, and was also the first French capital ship built to modern standards and classifications established after the war. Following a year of construction work, it was launched in August of 1923 and was subsequently entering service by the end of 1926. During the interwar period, she served in the Mediterranean Sea, while also going on longer cruises to Indochina in the early 1930s. Several years later, she found herself taking part in the international patrols to protect shipping during the Spanish Civil War, and in the Second World War spent several years interned at the port of Alexandria after the fall of France in June of 1940. However, after rejoining the Allied forces in 1943, the ship was modernized several times and also took part in the Allied landings in southern France in August of 1944. At the start of the Cold War, she continued her service by taking part in the Indochina War in 1947, operating out of Saigon for several years until the ship was ultimately decommissioned and sold for scrap in 1953. So with the Duguay-Trouin, what you have is a light cruiser coming in for France, the second pre-order vehicle that is going to be for the tech tree. Now remember, the tech tree isn't going to be coming out this update, it will probably come out in a later one, very similar to how the Italian ground tech tree didn't come out for a while, but the Leoncello was sat there for ages. Same as well with the British tech tree, when it came to the ground stuff. They brought in the premium first, and then everything else. They do this quite a lot, probably to gauge interest in it, and also at the same time to try and sell as much as they can. You know, the whole limited time pre-order stuff, and also maybe just other elements are not ready yet at the same time. The general thing is the vehicle itself just seems pretty nice. And it's looking like stuff like very similar to the Italian light cruisers, which are kind of stuck between BRs. They have really nice armaments, but don't really have too much else going for them. You have 4 twin 155mm turrets, which 2 on the front, 2 on the back, which are the primary armaments. You know, these will do a lot of damage. I really like 152mm guns, so I'm sure 155 will be really nice as well. At the same time as well, since this had a late Second World War refit, and this one's from 1944, it's going to have all of the nice guns on top of it. So 475mm dual-purpose guns, 640mm Bofors, and 20mm Oerlikons. So the secondary armament is quite nice as well. The major issue of this is it has pretty standard speed, 61 kilometers an hour, but the armor is very much lacking. So it only has up to 30 millimeters of armor plate shielding, so generally not going to be that useful. At least on the dev server, it had quite a lot of armor around its ammo, so that's going to be really nice, so you don't go pop as often. But generally, you're not looking at a beast which is going to be covered in armor. So once again, very similar to those kind of starter light cruisers for Italy. And I've got to say, those light cruisers are really fun. They're incredibly good machines. They work really well. And I would hope that in the future, when it comes to the French, if they get a bunch more of those types of vehicles, I'll be very happy with it. As a start to the French stuff, I was a bit worried about the destroyer, but after playing it on the dev server, I'm pleasantly surprised. And after looking at this thing, if it can give me a similar experience to something like the Bartolomeo Colleoni when that first came out, then of course I'm going to have a great time. So that's what I'm looking forward to. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Cupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R., and Lafouche for supporting the channel.